So the ADM Regenerations Program is a program that ADM has partnered with AFT and Farmers Business Network. It's showing ADM's commitment to regenerative agriculture. It's incentivizing farmers in the state of Illinois to plant cover crops and some other additional soil health practices of reducing tillage and proper nutrient management. It's offering incentive payments to farmers who are taking on those practices for the first time and those who have been doing it for some time.
What sort of practices are you encouraging, and what do the farmers get out of this?
The bulk of contracts that are being enrolled into the program are for the planting of cover crops. So farmers who've been doing it for a very long time tend to enroll a lot of acres. There's farmers who are doing it for the first time, enrolling a field or two, maybe 100 acres or so. And we're encouraging the use of cover crops because it brings a lot of agronomic benefits, weed suppression, building of soil structure, improving nutrient cycling, improving the water infiltration, all those sorts of things. So we've been very successful at helping farmers implement some of these things. We have a fair amount of new farmers enrolling in the program. So my job within the program is to answer questions farmers who are interested in enrolling, and also to provide technical assistance to those who may have agronomic questions about how to manage those cover crops, and what are some of their goals, what should they expect, and how to be successful with using cover crops, especially if it's something relatively new to their farm.
2023 was the first year. You're transitioning into the second year then?
So 2022 was the first year. So this fall planting of cover crops for 2023 is the second iteration of the Regenerations program. That's correct.
So what was the success? How many acres did you get?
So this year we set out with an initial goal of enrolling 225,000 acres of cover crops into the program. At last count, we have exceeded 230,000 acres into the program, so we're very happy with that.
Now, what's the goal for this next year?
I think it remains to be seen. I think we're going to be looking at like 325,000, which is a significant portion of the Illinois cover crop acres. I guess don't hold me to that number, but I believe that's probably about where we're going to be.
Okay. Now, farmers what do they get out of this? They've got a compensation rate, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for 2023, there was 3 different payment tiers available to farmers. So $25 an acre for fields that have never been cover cropped. When I say never been cover cropped, that's fields that have not seen a cover crop within the last 5 years. For that, they would get $25 an acre. For fields that received their first cover crop within the last 5 years, farmers are eligible to receive $15 an acre. Everything else, so fields that have cover crop history exceeding 5 years, or for fields that are enrolled in an NRCS program, EQIP, CSP, RCPP funding, those fields are still eligible to receive $10 an acre for the planting of the cover crop.
Now, this money comes from a program that ADM is administering. Is that right?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
And what is that program, and why is ADM interested in this?
So ADM's interest in this is to show a commitment to more regenerative practices. It is a Scope 3 carbon emissions program, so ADM does claim the carbon assets for the program to use to offset their own supply chain. Okay, that's the idea. But they're incentivizing farmers to plant cover crops, 1, to incentivize the practice, and 2, to show farmers that the real soil health benefits associated with the use of cover crops are real, they're tangible, and achievable for every farmer in the state.
So when you go to a farmer and say, hey, we've got this program, and you describe it, what's generally their reaction to it?
Most are pretty receptive of it. Those who've shown some interest in using cover crops, but maybe have not dabbled in it too much yet, are very intrigued by it because it offers some risk sharing in terms of the financial implications of getting seed out there and some of the potential challenges that can be associated with improper management of cover crops or environmental factors that might be out of your control. It helps to offset some of that financial risk for farmers who are just getting into it. For those that have been cover cropping for a significant amount of time, they look at it as receiving an additional payment for something they're going to do, whether they're being paid for it or not. So it's simply supplementing the income streams that they already have for doing something that they would do regardless of a payment.
And this seems like a program, is it stackable with other soil carbon programs that are out there?
So generally speaking, you can stack. This is considered a private program. So generally speaking, you can stack a private program with a public program. So you can be in an EQIP program, CSP, RCPP, and then stack this program on top of it. Because it is a Scope 3 carbon program and ADM claims the carbon assets, generally, if you're involved in another program with another private entity who's claiming that carbon asset, it does render you ineligible to participate in both programs simultaneously.